لتجدن أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود والذين أشركوا ولتجدن أقربهم مودة للذين آمنوا الذين قالوا إنا نصارى.
تقال العثار العظام به ويغد الهوى ككبش ذبيح بذكر الإله.
The Quran speaks about two kinds of Christians. Two kinds of Christians. Who are those who in Akhir Zaman will be the closest in love and affection to you Muslims? Allah speaks in Surah Al-Ma'idah, which is the 5th surah of the Quran, and He says, and you will most certainly find in time to come, that you will most certainly find at that time when the Quran was revealed and in the future, that there will be a Christian people in time to come who will be closest in love and affection for you, Muslims. Why? This is because they still have amongst them the integrity of the institution of priesthood and monasticism. The monastery, the monk, the monastic way of life. And because they are not an arrogant people. They are not an arrogant people. Who are they? Is it the Roman Catholic Church? Or the Protestant Church? Which Christians is Allah speaking about? Allah gives us guidance by which to identify the Christians who will be closest in love and affection to us. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ, which is either present or future, and you will most certainly find in time to come that those who will be closest in love and affection for you would be a people who proclaim, we are Christians. Oh, but wait a minute. They don't proclaim themselves Christians in the United States, Britain and France. No. Religion is a private affair. We'll be secularized. We proclaim ourselves French and British and American. And religion is for Sunday morning. That couldn't be British and American and French Christians because they hide their religious identity. But these are a different kind of Christian people. قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. They proclaim themselves, their identity. We are Christians. It has to be a different kind of Christian who proclaims my identity. I am Christian. So this could not be Western Christianity. Kindly eliminated. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ كِسِّسِينَ وَرُهْبَانًا. There'll be another way you can recognize these Christians. What is it? And that is because they still have the institution of monasticism. Or eliminate Western Christianity. In Britain and in France and in the United States and Canada, the monastery is now McDonald's hamburgers, or Kentucky Fried, or Pizza Hut. There are no more monasteries. So Allah is telling you as plain as a billboard on the road to the airport. These are the Christians who in Akhir Zaman will be closest in love and affection for you. But there are, both in the Quran and in the Hadith, indications that we will conquer Constantinople on the basis of an alliance with Orthodox Christians. It will be a Muslim Christian army that will conquer Constantinople. The Hadith then ends that after the conquest of Constantinople, only then will Dajjal make his appearance in human form.
Putin outlined his anti-Zionist stand last week when he assembled both Orthodox Christian and moderate Islamic clergy for a clear and certain news release that he will not countenance any foreign military intervention in Syria.
At a meeting with religious leaders, Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin spoke against any foreign interference with Syria. We certainly condemn all violence wherever it comes from. You should let people determine their destiny themselves.
Now, with 3 Russian warships recently docked in Syria's port of Tartus, Putin's actions speak louder than his words.
A new balance of power is emerging with Putin at the fulcrum of international swaps and trades. You can divide the world now into 2 camps, Zionist and anti-Zionist, liars and truth-tellers, warmongers and peacemakers. Putin isn't stupid. He knows who's at the center of world unrest, Israel and its global bully, America.
We don't operate in any way the way the Russians do.
Right. Russia fights terrorists, America arms them. And why does Tapper tout the Jewish lie that Putin's reign is murderous? Putin is hated by Jewry for reviving symphony of church and state in Russia where Jews have no power, and for expanding Russia's influence that reaches all the way to Israel, with military bases up against their border. Too close for comfort, especially with Putin demanding that international law be enforced against Israel's theft of Palestinian property.
Bottom line, while the Zionists plan for a greater Israel, extending from Tel Aviv to Tehran, from the Nile to the Euphrates, by fragmenting Israel's bordering nations into competing militias and warlords, Vladimir Putin remains firm and uncompromising.
That world order is now under more strain than it's ever been.
I think it's under the biggest attack since World War II, sir, and that's from Russia.
Oh, we're under attack by Russia? You mean the DNC hack job that no one can prove? Here's my question to Mr. Mattis. Why the Russia-phobia? Is it because Russia got the job done where America flopped? ISIS is on the run in Syria. Obama is out, Assad is still in. In any safe zones, Mattis' attempts in Syria will be met by a big Russian bear that flies bombers over safe zones. But ultimately the struggle is spiritual, of which Mattis is no student. Russia with a resurgent Orthodox Church which Jewry fears, and its corresponding ethical platform is the only real threat to Jewmerica, just as it was 100 years ago. Deja vu? But this time the barking dog will get chewed alive by a snarling bear. With the threat of a rising Hezbollah on its north, a surly Iran on its east, a Russia-leaning Egypt on its west, and squabbling protesters within, Israel setting for the first time clocks in as its hour of desperation. And now with the axis of resistance, Syria, Iran, Lebanon, adding Iraq to its ranks, Israel is left reeling on its back foot. It gets worse.
Breaking news from the Middle East, an Israeli F-16 fighter jet was shot down this morning in northern Israel near Syria by what's believed to have been Syrian anti-aircraft fire. Both pilots were injured, one seriously.
Let's be clear. The Israeli plane invaded Syria's airspace, and after being struck by a Syrian surface-to-air missile within Syria, exploded and fell on Israeli ground. Though America touts that Israel had the right to defend itself, international law's on Syria's side. Any country would have done the same. How does Israel achieve a Jewish state in the Middle East when it is not accepted by its neighbors? The map tells it all. In the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, resentful Palestinians loom large as thorns in Israel's sides. Their refugee camps in Jordan are on simmer, while Syria challenges the established view of Israel's air superiority. Turkey can turn on Israel anytime. Lebanon's voice against Israeli aggression is louder than ever, and Iraq's and Iran's Shiite alliance grows stronger every day. It all bodes ill for Israel. Hostility without, strife within. a militant pro-Russia Egypt operating in the Sinai, paired with Russian bases in Syria. How many enemies does Israel want when its only friend, America, is teetering on bankruptcy and Europe's backing of the Jewish state is shrinking? Once upon a time, Churchill forecasted Britain's finest hour, but Israel's desperate hour is upon it.